spread so tight the stakes get higher. Institutional flow, he's the supplier. Positions held till charts retire. Data feeds, news he reads. Fibonacci maps the seeds. Supply demand his mind exceeds. Trades ignite like lightning speed. Stop loss tight, take profit wide. Least precision, unmatched drive. Liquidity pools, banks coincide. Retail's blind, leads the guide. Charts unfold, the stories told. Entry bold, accounts in gold. Trade by trade, the wins are sold. Market alchemy, legends mode. Whoa, 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 whoa. Lead the reason markets run. Lead the reason markets run. Markets are on.
Lee wakes at dawn to a glowing screen. Charts and candles, the digital sheen. Open in range, his weapon so keen. He's the structured trader, a market machine. Bank moves, he mimics, he plays their game. Near reversion, glory is his claim to fame. Market structure king. Watch him do his thing. Pips and points.
Afternoon, how are we all doing? Happy Monday, everybody. Sorry, some news coming in. How are we all doing? Monday. We've got a trade still on the DAX running. If you were in the live room this morning, that's just come back into profit. So DAX this morning, we had a break to the downside. Where's my pen gone? We had a break to the downside, which didn't really get anywhere and stopped out. And it's just basically gone parabolic since that. So we are broken long. Target's just coming up on that one, which is up there. But I'm thinking about closing this out and just taking the break even on it because the US market's open now. In fact, what I might do with this, just put a trailing stop just under that moving average there, just under this little pullback, because that will lock in half that loss. And if it does rally, brilliant. If not, then just take a small loss on the DAX this morning. We'll see what happens. So we are open. We're up at the Globex highs at the moment. So obviously the markets in the US, Globex, have been very strong. So we are actually opening right up at the Globex highs right now. It's been a weird day today. All the moves that we've had are sort of retracing at the moment. Oil's coming down. We're nearly done an ADR on oil to the downside at the moment. There's nothing really I've seen in the news that is specifically negative, i.e. good for oil with the Strait of Hormuz or anything. It's only closed to enemies of those supporting the aggression, the usual stuff. So Iran hasn't really changed its stance, but market today is selling a little bit off. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm still long on it with a fairly decent size. So I've got loads of room. So I'm just going to hold it today and see what happens. We're looking at basically yesterday's low, or Friday's low rather. As long as we put a higher low in, we've put a higher high in today. If we put, if it pulls back, higher high, higher low, still bullish. So I'm not really that worried. But I was expecting a little bit more of a rally towards $100 a barrel. Didn't quite get there, but futures market will have exceeded that. So afternoon, Fletch. Afternoon, Road. How are we doing? So we'll have a look at how the market opens this morning on the US. We've got 50 seconds left to the first 5-minute candle. Ranges are going to be too small, I think, for a trade. We might just about get a NASDAQ 5-minute ORB, but the DOW is too small at the moment. So if we have a look at where we are on those, from the big picture. We obviously pulled back on the indices last week. Very nice strong bull move so far today during Globex, but that doesn't mean it's obviously going to continue. So we've got the obvious yesterday's or Friday's high, which was just coming up at the moment. We're almost up at ADR on that. But as you can see, the markets are not bullish in any way, shape or form at the moment. If you go out into the higher time frames still, you can see obviously we are bearish at the minute. So I can't see a massive bull run on the cards today, but you never know. Just gone along on the NASDAQ. So triggered straight into along there. That's just about there. Look, 843, minimum range is 841. So that is exactly 15% of ADR. Exactly, pretty much. So yeah, so longs triggered, upside target on that. I'm looking at that little high there from Thursday. So that's Friday's high. That's obviously where we're going to meet initial resistance today. So Friday's high does get taken out and we put in a higher high, higher low situation. Obviously, we should be able to get up to there today, but we'll see. I'm not convinced we're going to break long, but we'll see what happens. Go with the flow. The Dow, same thing. So there's no range break on the Dow. It's too small today. But Dow Jones, also, obviously, we are massively bearish industrial stocks at the minute. Really much more bearish than tech, which is surprising considering AI is taking everybody's jobs. I would imagine tech would be a lot worse. But anyway, so yeah, so we are pulling down. We've got this little low coming up from a few weeks ago. Actually, a few months ago. It's back in November. So this low here we had in October, which was this propulsion break. They held and rebought that, and then we came back down and retested that in November, which they rebought. So that's our first downside support this week that we should be keeping an eye on. If we get down there, there'll be a nice opportunity for a buy. That's 200 ADR away today. So unlikely we're going to hit it today unless there's some crazy news. But yeah, all markets down at the minute. Just going to pull that DAX stop up a little bit. Just trail it up basically with a moving average at the minute. In fact, I might just stick a trailer on that. So 58-point trailer. So just trail that basically up if we are going to run today. DAX breaking down, NASDAQ breaking up, always good. Right, so we've had loads of news. We've got loads of news this week. So it's a manic week this week. I went through this in the members stream in a bit more detail this morning. We've had CPI come out for the Canadian dollar. It is down, but although it says it's very bearish, it is bearish because we missed the forecast by 0.2. But obviously, based on previous, we're up 0.5%. So inflation has obviously gone up. Now, that is actually bullish, although it's bearish because it didn't go up as much as forecast. So it's kind of a little bit of a mixed news result. The median CPI came out pretty much on track, so as did the trim. So it's actually kind of roughly where they were expecting it to be from a year-on-year basis. But obviously, you know, this is at the moment with what's going on with oil and everything, it's going to impact all inflation targets. So this week we've got massive news from interest rate perspective. So the central banks are meeting this week to discuss what to do as a kind of whole, if you like, with interest rates. Obviously, interbank interest rates, intercountry interest rates affect each other. So it's one of the first instances, I think, where we've actually had a coming together of banks to decide as a whole what to do. So what we've got this week is every central bank, apart from New Zealand, announcing new interest rate decisions and new interest rate stances. So it all starts tomorrow with the Australians at 3:30 tomorrow morning. It's UK time. We're forecasting an increase there, quite a substantial increase up to 4.1. Then on Wednesday, we have the Canadian interest rates, which are meant to be frozen, along with the, obviously, FOMC, the Fed rate on Wednesday evening, which is again going to be a freeze, or meant to be a freeze. Bank of Japan interest rate comes out on Thursday morning, again a freeze, followed closely by the Swiss National Bank, again freeze. And then we've got the pound 3.75 freeze and the euro 2.15 freeze. So everybody is represented there apart from New Zealand from an interest rate perspective this week. I've never seen so many interest rates coming out in the same week. It's going to be absolute chaos if they decide to make some big changes to these. So just bear that in mind with any position trading that you're doing at the moment. There's potential this week for massive upset. Obviously, interest rates go up with inflation. The fact that oil prices rocketed so quickly is going to cause global inflation. Global inflation in energy markets is what typically drives the interest rates. And we've seen that obviously with COVID, huge spikes in demand during COVID and energy prices through the roof. And obviously interest rates went from virtually nothing straight up to 5 and 6% across the board, didn't they, with a lot of countries. So it's not unheard of and it's not unexpected for interest rates to rally. The fact that they've put them all in 1 week is unexpected and unusual. So we've got all of this happening this week. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens, because if you're in any FX pairs at the moment, there is potential for a massive shift in directional bias with banks. So we might find that suddenly they turn around and go, holy cow, we need to be dumping the Swissy and buying all the dollar, or we need to be dumping the euro and buying all the pound, or whatever. So it's going to be one of those weeks where you can find massive movement, like way beyond average weekly ranges, happening very, very, very quickly. So bear in mind they are filtered out all week though. So we've got Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. The whole lot's going to be done by Thursday afternoon. So you'll know by end of week what's going on. The blockade's still in place in the Strait of Hormuz. So as I said, the oil price obviously at the moment is pulling back today so far, but right now we are still bullish. So higher highs, higher lows. We're down at the bottom of the channel at the moment that we're currently in from the last week. So yeah, that's absolutely fine with me. As soon as we break that $100 a barrel, I think we're easily going to retest that 113 off to 135 plus. If they don't open that straight up to all shipping, I don't really see any way that that is going to go anywhere else but up. So we'll wait and see though. This conflict is a very fast moving thing. It will take one news feed to come out on Financial Juice that says Iran has decided to withdraw from attacking the Strait of Hormuz in response to whatever, and all of a sudden, boom, we're open. Oil's going to drop. But long term, it's going to need to bounce higher because the production facilities are destroyed, storage facilities are destroyed. And don't forget, 90% of the oil that comes out of Iran makes up 35% of the global stuff that goes everywhere. So it's a huge, huge, huge stockpile that we're missing at the moment. And obviously demand in war goes up. So supply is going down, demand is going up, which increases prices. So how that's going to affect this over the short term, I don't think anyone can really forecast at the moment. But yeah, I'd be buying more. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. DAX still pushing. Didn't just about manage to get into new highs on that last 5-minute candle. Does look like we're trying to go for new highs again. The Dow's just turned around, and so is the NASDAQ. Completely opposites today, aren't we? Who knows what's going on today? Afternoon, Sleepy. How are we doing? Right, so from a ADR perspective today, you've got Euro New Zealand's hit ADR. Really big, strong move there from the New Zealand dollar. So we've got lots of different movement all over the place at the moment. Pound New Zealand dollar has come down as well. So you can see, obviously, the main mover today has been the New Zealand dollar. A lot of strength coming in on that New Zealand dollar today. Not quite sure why, really. But yeah, there's a lot of strength in the dollar at the moment, New Zealand dollar. So those are your only 3 ADRs at the moment. So you can drop down lower time frames and look for potential reversals. You've had reversal alert there, M15 and M5 on New Zealand CAD. So it looks like a nice exhaustion move into yesterday's high there, but it's not really going anywhere at the moment. And the euro and the pound both doing the same thing against New Zealand dollar. So you just had a reversal alert there, but I mean, look at these wicks to the downside at the minute. There's a lot of trying to buy this up at the moment, but not succeeding. So lots of downside wicks, really lot of wicks. So a lot of resistance to going short on this. So this might be actually not a bad little long to take anything in here and look at that maybe being the start of that W, but it's a really ugly pattern. Not clean at all. Terrible reversal alert there as well. Look. It's just wicks to the downside everywhere. Look. Weird. It's just very weird price action. Not pretty at all, is it? So those are your only ADRs. Long on the Dow. So the 15-minute range is in 1879. So that's over 15% of ADR. So long Dow. Upside target on the Dow today. Very difficult. So we're buying straight into the previous session high, where you're going to find resistance. So it's going to have to go some to break out today. Targets really not that nice, is it? So we got the gap down from Wednesday. Was it Thursday's gap down? Wasn't it? Thursday's gap down there is partial today to the upside. We'll see how we get on at the previous highs. I'm not holding up much hope for longs today, really, to be honest, but we'll see. New high on the DAX. Okay, so that's in profit now. So that's 110. So it pays for the morning's trade. I guess we could test that previous session high. A lot of resistance here at this price point, which is where my partial is. So we've got a chance of getting there, definitely. And we're at the highs. Right, okay, so there's your ADRs. There are no weekly ranges here. Obviously, it's Monday. Monthlies, we've had quite a few monthlies. Obviously, the market's been moving a lot over the last couple of weeks, as you'd imagine. So your RSI extensions, there's a few RSI extensions on the 4-hour, which are worth having a look at. So again, covered this in the live room this morning. The Bank of Japan have announced a potential intervention again this morning. I have to go back a little bit. Okay, there we are. So at midnight 25, Japan Finance Minister prepared to take decisive steps on foreign exchange. So this is in relation to the US dollar yen rally that we're currently seeing or have been seeing up until today. So obviously, if you go back and look at the intervention level, which I've got marked on the chart here, 169.900, basically 162 pretty much. That was the last intervention that we had. That was the biggest intervention we've ever had in the yen. The market tried to push back and obviously failed. Looked like we were going to form a range, and we did push straight back down from those previous highs, but market has again pushed up. So obviously, as you can see, if you look at this from a timeline perspective, the market push started 2 weeks ago. or just about, when the US started going into Iraq, or talking about going into Iraq. So obviously that's strengthened the US dollar. Oil has strengthened the US dollar. So we've had this rally basically, which has been put in. And that is to do with obviously oil prices. And obviously, the US make a lot of money out of oil. So this push here has driven us back up into that level. And we are very, very close, if you look at where we are from a distance perspective, around 300% of ADR, 3 ADR away from retouching that level. And that is where we got the previous intervention. Okay. So with all these yen pairs that are extended to the upside, there is a short opportunity right now that you could get into and probably scale in maybe 2-3 trades, possibly 4, back up into that intervention level. If we hit that intervention level again, they are going to be ready to press the button and push that intervention further. So we've got a really good short opportunity on this US dollar yen. You've also got New Zealand dollar yen, which is the weakest currency out there at the moment against the yen, New Zealand dollar, although it's rallying today, the New Zealand dollar. But you can see, obviously, New Zealand dollar compared to US dollar, we're not making new highs. So we are kind of contracting up there. So there's good potential for shorts on all of these yens at the moment. It's not going to be something that you can time it. It's something that you'll get in, you'll scale in, and you'll wait for that intervention move to come. And when it comes, you're going to make the money out of it. So just bear in mind with all these yens at the moment, if you are long on them, the Japanese have just announced that there is a high probability of another intervention coming if the US dollar continues to rally. That is if the US dollar continues to rally. We've got interest rate changes coming this week. So if the interest rates go up on all other currencies and the Fed decide to keep theirs stable, that's going to weaken the dollar. However, if oil price continues to rally, that's going to strengthen the dollar. If the Fed put the interest rate up and oil continues to rally, the US dollar is going to go through the roof. And what that means is we're going to hit that intervention level at some point on Wednesday. So if that does happen, that is going to trigger the Japanese to basically look very hard at potentially intervening again. So if you look at what happened on the last intervention, it's not going to be anywhere near that size. But, that is 1 month. That is it was about 3 weeks, wasn't it? Yeah. We put in 2,000 pips. 90 is ADR. Yeah. So it's a 20 ADR move within a couple of weeks. So, extrapolate that again, you're not going to get a move of that magnitude, I don't think. I don't think there's enough money left in the yen to drive it, but you never know. But the market will certainly start taking profit on the carry trade as soon as that hits. So when day one goes in, the market will be forced to exit the carry trade, and the carry trade will unravel. And it will unravel fast. Yeah. So just bear that in mind. We are getting close to that level again. So you don't know if it's going to happen, but we've got extensions on RSI, on Euro Yen, on Swiss Yen, and on the dailies, we've got US dollar yen. Only actually US dollar yen on the daily, isn't it? Everything else is kind of still high, but not up there. So yeah, so watch out for that basically this week. If that dollar rallies this week, they're not going to have a lot of choice. Yeah. We're up at uncomfortable levels for the Japanese. We've been at uncomfortable levels since, they intervened previously. So we will see where we go, but we might have a big move on our hands shortly. So just bear that in mind. I haven't taken a trade on this yet. I was kind of waiting for today to pan out to see what happened with oil prices. And as we're pulling back on oil, obviously the dollar is pulling back. So I'm just waiting to see if oil manages to get a run today. And if that does carry that up, because if that carries it up, I'll be shorting this. In fact, as I said this morning, I'll be shorting the New Zealand dollar yen because this is the weakest at the moment. If you want to look at the currency strength, go and have a look at the currency strength meter on the website. Have a look at the daily strengths and you'll see the New Zealand dollar's kind of down there at the moment. So if that intervention happens and the Japanese yen powers up to full power, what's going to get affected the most? New Zealand dollar yen. Yeah. So what the hell just happened there? That will update. Weird. What was that? That was weird. All suddenly, all the figures went weird. Okay. That's something for AI to have a look at. Anyway, so yeah, so just bear that in mind. We've got potential big move on the cards. So apart from that, the Japanese pairs, you've got the Euro US dollar, which at the moment on the 4 hour is extended. It's just about to come out of extension, so that'll be turned off shortly. It's already gone. You missed it. The extension was back down here on Friday, so it's already playing out. US dollar CAD, obviously, same thing. That would have played out from Friday, and the US dollar Swiss would have played out from Friday as well. Really, really weak US dollar. That's that oil price coming down, though. Oil is just hitting ADR. Not quite, but just about. This is ADR 3 that I'm using at the moment, so we've got more stable pricing. So I'm just looking at the last 3 days worth of average range at the moment rather than usual 10, because I want to filter out that day of all days, basically. So just looking at this at the minute. In fact, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So I'll leave it on ADR 3, but tomorrow ADR 5 will give a very good, decent representation of price movement. So yeah, there we go. ADR on oil. There we go. We've hit. So it's coming down at the minute. So I'm just seeing if there's any news. No oil-related news coming in at the moment. So just literally price movement today. Right. So back to the indices. We are long still. Market's really struggling to make any new headway today. But Dow is having a rally on the highs. Candle 4 there, which is your 20-minute in. Just been taken out on the Dow. NASDAQ having a crack at it as well. There we go. Dow's gone. NASDAQ will go with that as well. Just going to move my stop up. Just locking in as much profit as possible on this one. It's going to hit target. Great. If not, just make sure I lock in as much as I can. Anybody got any pairs they want to look at specifically? Let me know. But this week, forecasts, irrelevant. There's just no point in trying to decide medium or long term, even short term. There's just no point in trying to decide anything this week because the entire week is going to be dominated by interest rates. I've never seen so many interest rates in a week. It's absolutely nuts. The whole world is announcing. And it's worrying because when you get a week like this, one shock is enough to make the market turn tail and run on something and everything else gets done. If they turn around and decide to hike interest rates across the board, I have no idea what that's going to do to the markets. Chaos, definitely, but bullish, bearish, you wouldn't be able to tell what is going on with anything. New Zealand dollar, US dollar. So New Zealand dollar at the moment, very strong today. US dollar, very weak today. So you got an ADR on that. Look for some reversals on it. But I mean, at the minute, this US dollar is getting absolutely hammered. Someone somewhere knows something about what's going on this week with all these interest rates. So we are just pulling back at the moment on that, which you would expect from this divergence and reversal here. So watch for a pullback on this into propulsion up into here. So you should be able to get 150, 175 ADR Not necessarily today, might do it tomorrow, but be looking to come up into here and obviously then continue potentially that way, unless we decide that we are going to do something different with interest rates. So, but yeah, nice position trade on this. If you entered there and scaled into your second there, you got a nice profit on that at the moment. Haven't really had many entries on this on the hourly. Had some shorts on this rally here, which should have exited down there, but that's the first proper decent long signal we've had. Four hour, you've had an entry there. Didn't really get much out of that. Nice. But yeah, this week you can't really tell what is going to happen. It's going to be one of those weeks where it's just going to go nuts. Market will be popping. Potentially, it might do absolutely nothing this week. It's just never seen so many interest rates in a week. Okay, DAX got new high just gone in on the last candle. Do you think we see a decent correction on gold? I think possibly because gold wasn't used as a safe haven. The gold should be pushing today because of the dollar. Yeah, so we've got a push. Obviously, this is just an inverse push from the dollar. Gold is, again, one of those anomalies at the minute because of what's happened to gold. This crazy move here and pullback has shaken, obviously, the volatility up, but volatility is starting to normalize. I'd say normalize. I mean, this is normal. That's still abnormal, isn't it? But because obviously a lot of this is now done through bricks. This is what I'm listening to Trump. The oil prices will drop like a rock as soon as it's over. When's it going to be over? Come on, Trump. When is it going to be over? Yeah. What's the plan? No, you haven't got one? Oh, right. Okay. So you bombed the crap out of it. And now what are you going to do? Just unbob it? Or, it's not going to be over, is it? You can't run in and kidnap a leader, kill another leader, and expect everyone to be happy about it. It's not going to be over. But yeah, anyway, so I think we should still be looking long term at gold price rising. But short term, if this conflict continues to go on and oil price continues to rally, the dollar will continue to strengthen and this will hold down this oil price. But because there's so much of this gold now being traded, gold, not oil, but because there's so much of this now being traded outside of the dollar, i.e. all the Russian gold being put through the BRICS network rather than through normal US dollar trading, this isn't going to be anywhere, shape or form near what it used to do. What it's going to do, nobody knows. We're in a completely new cycle for gold and commodities in general, really, even oil. This has been a massive eye-opener for China. Yeah. China gets a vast majority of its oil exports from Iran. Yeah. It's suddenly gone, where's our oil? Yeah, the same way as Europe when Russia invaded Ukraine. Europe went, what do you mean we can't have any oil from the Ukraine pipelines? Yeah, they rethought the entire infrastructure of their energy system. China have just realized how vulnerable they are with this. So again, it's all going to change. Where everything is traded and what currencies it's trading in and how you rely on all this sort of stuff is all changing. This is a new world order. We've ripped up the 60, 80 year rule book for how we trade with each other, or rather Trump has. So where this goes from here, no idea. But I would suggest it's not coming back down to where it was. That's probably a given. So I think you'll find this pullback here, which was a profit take on the sort of 8-month leg, I think you'll find that if we ever get down there would form a range low and we will start to trade around this area. I think comfortably you're looking at this. If you're buying your gold in dollars, that's comfortably what you're looking at now. If you are manufacturing electronics using gold, then you'll be buying it from China because it's cheaper. He really doesn't understand quite what well, I'm sure he does understand what he's done. There's probably a reason for it, but he's driven a lot of trade away from the US. Whether it be by design or by accident, it's irrelevant. It's happened. You're stuffed. Any comments on linear regression? Nope. Nope. Simple answer. It's just mean reversion, basically. If you want to trade linear regression, there's loads of systems out there. I've traded everything. I've traded linear regression indicators. They're very similar to Bollinger Bands in the fact that they are trying to predict mean reversion, which or you're trying to predict when you should buy reversions, basically. How you use them. Every indicator you have can be used in two ways. Yeah. So RSI, when RSI gets above 80, I sell it as a mean reversion trader. A lot of trend traders will buy it because it's strong. Bollinger Bands, when price moves outside Bollinger Bands, I will sell it as a mean reversion. A lot of traders will wait for it to pull back to the average and they will buy it as a continuation pattern. Same with linear regression. You still have the same thing. You've got a 50-50 of it working. Doesn't matter what indicator you place on your chart, you've got 50-50. That's it. None of them are going to help you decide which is the best. They're all doing the same thing. Put any linear regression indicator on your chart and then put a load of other mean reversion style indicators on your chart. Draw a line where you would have taken a trade with that indicator and then adjust the settings on some other indicators to match it up. It's the same thing. But I don't think there's a good or a bad. It's just different. So if it works for you, use it. At the end of the day, we've all got to use what we click with. So if you click with the market reverse alerts indicator because it helps you identify structure breaks, brilliant. If you don't need it, don't use it. If you like RSI because it's good at timing your entry conditions, use it. If you don't use something else. Or don't use anything. Better. Just follow price. Price knows where it's going. Up or down. Not much help, am I? Trump declines to comment on deploying ground troops in Iran. Trump, the war will end soon. How? Global AI plans to deploy in the video. This is the thing that does my head in about Trump at the moment. It's like, the war will end soon. When and how and why? It will just end soon. Yeah, the sun will come up tomorrow. We know why that comes up, Mr. Trump. Why is the war in Iran going to finish? Because you've bombed it all? No, that's not going to stop the war, is it? That's going to make them even angrier and hit you harder and hit everybody else harder. I don't get it. I really don't. It's like the stuff that he's coming out with, like with Iran are close to surrendering. And then Iran come out and go, we've never said we're going to surrender. We're not going to surrender. We're going to hit you harder because you keep hitting us. Like, just lies and idiocy, isn't it? Anywho, the war will end soon. It'll end. I'll tell you why it will end. It'll end because he'll give up because he realised that the rest of the world is going, sorry, we're not getting involved. And he'll go, well, I'm not going to get involved then. It's like, I've just spent 15 billion. Whoops. And the comments over the weekend, we'll hit Carg Island because we fancy it. Because it's fun. What an idiot. Sorry, I do realise I'm streaming in the US session. I might be upsetting a lot of people. But anyway, there's probably other streams out there that are very pro-Trump. I'm very pro-Trump in regards to trading because he makes it go up and down, which is great. The IEA's quick action had a calming impact on markets. Not particularly convincing DOW move there. So we are lower low, lower high. Nasdaq's just put in new high of the day off of a double bottom though. So we are looking like we're bullish, which would indicate this dollar is going to continue to come down. Target hit on the DAX. So I'll just trail the rest of that, see how far we get. Can't see this rally lasting that much longer, but you never know. Oil price is really coming down. Okay, so watching very closely Friday's low. So obviously if we're going to put in a bullish move today, we don't want to see that low taken out. If that low gets taken out, we are outside bar today. So if we close back inside yesterday's range, we've got an outside bar break opportunity there. So it's an indecision candle, basically market unsure as to whether to continue the rally or not. So that could be quite a decisive day today. But if we close higher than Friday's low, we're pretty safe, I think, for bull move continuing tomorrow. So previous session high has gone on the Dow, but we're just approaching on the Nasdaq. Afternoon, Mumo. It's going to end like his casinos ended. Complete disaster. It will, Brian, yeah. It will end. It will end. Somehow. I have no idea. But, you know, this is the thing, is that, like, it's like, it'll end soon. It'll end soon. It'll end soon. It's the same when you did the tariffs, isn't it? Oh, they're going to come running to me. They're going to come running to me with deals. They're going to be begging. They're going to be begging for deals. They're going to be begging for it. And everyone went, screw you. We just go straight to China. Hang on a minute. You need to come begging. No, we're just going to go and deal with China. Canada, you get all the tariffs. Canada goes, no problem. We'll just get everything from China. No. You need to pay us more. No, we just won't buy it from you. We'll buy it from China. As everybody else has also said. So let's drive everybody, all of our customers off to China. Let's bomb the crap out of Iran and steal all their oil. Yeah, we're not going to buy your oil. You just lifted sanctions on Russia. Do you think we're going to be friends with you now? No. I don't get it. Neither does the rest of the world. How does it end? I don't know. Right, so we've got to pull back. Just trying to get underway at the moment. It's very, 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 very weak, this bull run. We are Christmas trees, basically. We're red, green, red, green, red, green. Market really unable to pick a direction at the minute today, which I'm not surprised about. I would fully expect this to turn tail and run today, and that oil price to kick in, which it's just about to start doing potentially. So we've got a propulsion gap just forming for the second hour there. So got a nice big propulsion move there, big propulsion move there. We've got a big propulsion move here. So if this is the low of the day on oil, this is likely to be the high of the day on US indices. So important hour this, see where we go. Out of NASDAQ, or just about to get out of the NASDAQ. Really, really look at the strength of that move today with that moving average. Really strong trend today on that, but exhaustion creeping in. Oops. Just needed to check whether or not the US indices have updated correctly on here. Why is that not loading? Nix, you've broken something. Come on, Nix, you've broken something, haven't you? Trying to get onto the EdgeStat Pro website and just see what he says. He hasn't actually been working on it today, so it should actually be fine. I was on it this morning. Maybe it's overloaded. Okay, big wick to the upside there, but also indecision. He's broken it. I think he's broken, actually. Just check the server a second. Server's up. Okay, so inside bar forming on the NASDAQ. We are double bottom on the Dow as well. So if we are going to continue this rally today, this is a really good spot to buy it. Appear to get be able to get a pullback underway. Nix is broken. Nix has gone totally quiet on me. Look, he's dead. I think I might have killed my AI. Either that or he's killed the server. Oh. Port 8086. Go away. Just let me put it on the Windows. Port 8086 is listening but not responding. The flask app is hung. Let me check and restart it. There we go. He's good, isn't he? Fixed it. Ta-da. Right. It thinks we're in pre-market. Data's not been feeding in, has it? Since 11:15 this morning. Okay, we got a load of data missing. See if you can fix that data issue. So, yeah, unfortunately, this isn't going to be much use to you today because the live data feed, obviously, that goes into the database hasn't been happening today, which is very annoying. Need to put some kind of fail safe in there or monitoring. I need him to put a heartbeat on that and see if he can monitor that. Okay, NASDAQ attempting new highs of the day. There we go, new high of the day on the NAS. Okay. which has immediately been rejected. I'm just going to pull these up. Just going to pull this up for a break even. Don't like the look of this NASDAQ or this DOW today. Whoops. I'm just going to protect those two. DAX basically is just collapsing back down again. So out the DAX, or we'll be out of the DAX in a second. So these longs basically really struggling up at the highs for the last sort of 15, 20 minutes here. So they'll either manage to find some steam and go for it, or if they don't, I get the feeling we're going to collapse back down again today, or go into rotation maybe. Oil price is starting to rally back up again, which would indicate some US dollar strength coming in, which would indicate that the indices will probably start to reverse. So we're probably seeing some buying coming in on the US dollar look. Too much actually, but a little bit. Pound US dollar coming down a little bit. So a little bit of strength on the dollar, or weak, or basically just petering out. So just getting ready to exit these if that is the case, because obviously these will start to retrace. So not sure what to do with that data. So basically this website, EdgeStat Pro, that my AI is built for me, relies on a data feed from Forex, basically, which, there you go, session's open now. So we're going to have a gap in data now from there all the way down to 11:15. So we've got like 3 odd hours worth of data missing. So either I need to get him to build an EA to go and get that data fed back, or not quite sure what to do with that, but that's a little bit of a problem. We'll still have today's high-low, but we won't, and close, which are the important statistics, but we won't have the opening from today, but that doesn't really matter too much. We won't get any ORB stats today either, or first candle stats. In fact, you will get first candle stats for the 30-minute and the hour, so you could trade those statistics, but not a lot else today. Stopped out the DAX, so flat on the DAX. It's done today. The new position trader EA is all but complete. So this is version 3 of the position trader EA. So I've been having this rebuilt basically, so that it's I'm able to add more code to it and more functionality to it. So the way it was built was very archaic. So it was getting a bit long in the tooth. So it's been rebuilt from the ground up. The code's been reduced by 2/3. There's a lot of extra functionality that is going into this now. There's a lot of extra sort of features it's already got regarding what it puts on the chart, how it draws in, how it does targeting, all that sort of stuff. So this is, I've just got one bit of logic to finish off in it. And then it's basically at the stage it was before. So the older version 2 of the position trader EA. So it's at the stage where all the logic is there. And then I'm going to start adding all the new logic in for all the new features and functionality that I want to add into it for back testing. So I'm hoping to have it finished this week for MT4, and then obviously MT5 will come whenever it comes. Yeah, hopefully that will be done this week, and I'll have it up for beta testing so that people can start having a play around with it. So anybody that's already bought it through the website, I'll probably release it out to them first. And then obviously we can have a look at bug fixing, but I've back tested it pretty strenuously. And it all seems to be working pretty well. So the logic's all there. It's got much nicer visual feedback now. So it tells you all your weighted averages. It tells you where your targets are now, which is something that people have been asking for. So you can see exactly where the EA is going to get you out in positions. And it gives you much more feedback as to what it's going to do next with entries and all that sort of stuff. So it'll be much more sort of intuitive, hopefully, to use, basically. But we'll see what happens when I start adding all the extra functionality in. So I've stripped some functionality out as well, mainly backtester functionality. So part of the, I think I've just glitched that. Part of the reason I'm rebuilding this is to try and get faster backtesting. So I'm trying to get a lot of the functionality which slowed the tester down removed. So the buttons used to work in the tester. In this new version, the buttons aren't going to work in the tester. So it's purely going to be for automated trading. The buttons will still work in, real world, but the backtester, I'm not going to bother with button functionality in there because it was really bloated. The way that you have to work it to get it working in the backtester was a nightmare. So yeah, I've got rid of all of that. I've just got finished the logic for the market reversal alerts, but everything else in here is absolutely all functional and all working and all tested. You can now put the buttons in different corners as well, which is something else that other people have been saying they wanted to have. So yeah, and then I've got a big list of extra functionality, which is going to go into the get that on the screen properly. So go into the EA basically. So max lot size, target levels drawn on the chart. I've already done that. Different ADR targets for multiple trades and for single trades. So I'm going to add that in there as well. Maximum positions on a currency. So it will do size, spacing, exposure. So it does the exposure side of it as well now. So it will make sure that you don't get overexposed and over leveraged on a single currency in a single direction. I'm going to reintroduce the trend moving average filter, mainly because I want to start using it for index trading long term as well. So it's something I used to trade a moving average S&P strategy with the market reverse alert CA. So I'm introducing the trend filter so I can retrade that. Average break evens for certain numbers of trades and time. We're going to have different scaling options. So different amounts of trades that you're in, you'll have different scaling options. So for example, you don't want to start scaling your lot size until you're in 4 trades. You'll be able to do that. And you'll also be able to do it the other way around. So scale up until we get to 6 trades, then stop scaling, all that sort of thing. Automatic drawdown control using profits, loads of stuff. We're also going to have new entry conditions as well. So as well as ADR and RSI, I'm going to introduce AWR. So we'll be able to trade weekly extensions. So anything that is in the average weekly range extensions, we can trade those as well for mean reversion. Multi-day higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. So if we get multiple bull days in a row, it will then start look for mean reversion options on that. And also showing percentage drawdown. So when you're in a trade, it will also now forecast your drawdown based on ADR. So this will be a really good one. So for example, in this Aussie US here, where I've got my average price here, what it will do is it will plot lines at intervals showing you what the drawdown amounts will be. So you'll be able to see and forecast, if we come and retest this high, how much drawdown am I going to have at that point? So it will allow you, when you're in your positions, to sort of look at your entire portfolio and go through chart by chart and see what the worst case scenarios are for double tops, double bottoms on trades that are going against your positions that are going against you. So that's something else that a couple of people have asked for in the past, which I think would be really useful especially if you've got too much exposure on a currency. So if you're in $3 trades, for example, you'll be able to look at all three of those US dollar trades and look at where the most recent highs are. If it's going to push to test those recent highs, you can tot up how much drawdown the US dollar is going to cost you in 2 weeks' time, for example. So it's going to have some extra functionality like that, in which is kind of like quality of life stuff. I'm also introducing for targeting, which I don't think I've put there. No, I need to put that in. Target close on candle close. Another function in here to speed up backtesting. So at the moment, obviously, to get good quality results in backtesting, you need every tick. Control points is with the other position, the old position trader EA. Control points was very, very close to every tick results. So if you did control points, obviously it's about 9 times faster to test, but also it doesn't give you exactly the same results because it misses all those ticks that may have hit your target, retraced away from your target, and it doesn't count those as closes. Equally, for aggressive drawdown control trades, it won't actually have triggered some of the stop losses that it should have done. So it's not 100% accurate, and sometimes when you're in big positions and squeezes, it can make a massive difference to the results. So I've got another option where when we take a trade, at the moment, the way that the logic works with the version 2 of the Position Trader EA and this version at the moment, if the test ever starts, why aren't you starting? So when you get into a trade, obviously we have a target. Take a trade. There we go. So you've got a target, which at the moment is there. So there's your buy target, which is ADR, which is 0.22%. And there'll be another target up here, which is a single trade target, which is 0.5%. So at the moment, you can see that if this pushes up, it's going to close out there. If you didn't have ADR targeting turned on, that wouldn't be there, and that would be the only exit opportunity you have. And the way that the current logic works within the EA is that it will hit the line and immediately close it out. In back testing, if you're using every tick method, that will work perfectly. In control points, it won't work perfectly all the time. You'll get a variation in price. And if you get a big candle that pushes through that, you may well get a much bigger result or not triggered at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce a candle close option, which means that instead of hitting the level, what happens is it will trigger when price closes above the level or beyond the level. Yeah. So what it will mean is it will introduce a method where it will only close out when a candle closes, or it will only trigger a result when a candle closes. What that will allow you to do is move your testing over to open prices only. Open prices only testing, as you'll see, is like lightning. Yeah. So from a backtest perspective, we will be able to test decades in minutes. And the results will be 100% accurate because the whole operation will only work on candle open, which means that you will get exactly the results that you get in the backtest. But in real world, you will see the EA potentially on an hour. It will tick through the line, tick below it, tick through it, and nothing will happen. And if it does that and then closes below that target line, it won't shut the trade out. It has to close beyond it. So from a testing perspective, we would be able to get 100 times more productivity out of backtesting with that method of testing than we will with that method of testing or that method of testing. And it's still legitimate to only trade when a candle closes. And if you want to make manual decisions to close something out because it's got a target line here and then the candle spiked through it and then closed like that, you can close it out if you want to. But if it pulls back and then pushes up with a massive news candle and closes there, obviously, you're going to miss a bit of profit, but it's not the end of the world. But it allows us to quickly test all the new functionality, which is what I want to do. This is what I want to use this for. It's mainly a back testing tool to see what is and isn't the best thing to do with position trading, scaling in and out of movement. So that's the plan anyway. And that will hopefully be done this week. Okay, so stopped out at break even on both of those, as I suspected. So market's not able to make new highs. Short break is there for both of these, which will be back down at the moving average, or the session moving average for the NASDAQ. So if we do break short today, target downside is going to be, so that's our Globex low today. So if this candle today is going to be that, we will test that Globex low. So if this is a rejection upside, I'm going to just move my target up. So your previous close from Friday is here. Your Globex low is here. So that is where we're going to find support potentially today. So if that short does trigger, that's just under 2R risk reward to the downside. NASDAQ, Globex low. Whoops. Do that. Globex low is target. So there's our sort of small gap today and our Globex lows. Why is that there? That's not the right place, is it? Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot to change the times. I changed the times obviously when the clocks changed, but I completely forgot to change the Globex times. So that is 02 now. Let's check that other one actually. Okay, so your Globex low is there. So actually that target today is absolutely fine where it was. Let me just change the DOW as well. Where's it gone? Actually, it's not going to affect that one because the Globex low is in the same place, look, because it wasn't the open, the Globex low. So that's all fine, that one down there. So we'll see if we get that downside move today. Upside rejection is definitely on the cards. We've pulled back into propulsion, which is your first 5-minute move up today. So they'll either rebuy this or we will bounce out and then break structure back to the downside. Tricky day today, very tricky. DAX is absolutely collapsing down, so hopefully that's driving oil very nicely. Okay, so that is potentially your higher low gone in on oil. So we are going to put an inside bar in on oil by the looks of things. Unless in the next 20 minutes we have a really strong push back up into that propulsion and close up there. But if that does happen, I think the market will get back on board. We'll be off today. Whether we can actually retake those highs, I'd be surprised if we can retake those highs, but you never know. So still bullish move though, even though it's a bear candle, we are still bullish on oil. As it stands. Okay, back down into the session moving average on the Dow and bottom of that propulsion move. So nice little push down into there, pull back into that propulsion gap, which is about to form. So 45 seconds, you're going to get a nice propulsion gap form there. So that is your sellers today. In fact, actually, the sellers start all the way up there. So that whole area is going to be a propulsion move today. So sells up there. If you're a bear. 20 seconds left. Okay, so that's your area today for shorts. If you are looking at high of session, high of day going in there, that's where they'll be adding into their positions short. So we're back down below the Globex highs. So it's failed upside auction. Nobody interested in taking it long today at the minute. But back down to average price. So could still get a rally from here. We'll have to see where the market takes it. That DAX is definitely falling out of bed. This could be a profit take move though. So it could just be the market taking profit on the morning leg and continuing back up. Wait and see where we go. So we're coming up to 1.5 hours shortly in the next 15 minutes. Which is typically by 1.5 hours you've found your high or low of session. So after candle 18, which is 1.5 hours in, you've found with a good 80-90% confidence the high or the low of the session already. And obviously that is current session low and that is current session high. And quite often the further is the one that you would use as the high of the session. So a lot of people will be looking bearish, depending on obviously where we end. We might end all the way back up here. You know, got another 15 minutes yet before that happens. So, but we are looking pretty bearish at the minute. So bears in control on both at the moment. So we've got 3 candles there, which are solid moves to the downside, all closing within 20% of their lows. So very, very, very strong bear move. So be looking to fade any pops we get, assuming we get some pops. Slightly worried about a short if we haven't had a pullback, because obviously if I get in short down here, there is a good chance that we'll pull back at some point before we continue that move down. So a bit of a late entry, the ORB short today. But the rate this is coming down, it could well just collapse completely, couldn't it? Oil's coming back up to retest that propulsion move. The IEA chief has been talking. We can do more later as and if needed. Despite the huge release, we still have a lot of stocks left. Additional barrels are flowing in the Asian markets. We must be prepared if the conflict continues for a while longer. It will take time for global energy trade to recover. So, yeah, just basically reaffirming that the oil situation, obviously, there is plenty of supply in backlogs. So each country has usually somewhere around about 80 to 90 days of supply. So you've got 3 months, basically, if you don't get another delivery, to run those stocks down. So there is plenty of availability right now, but we're coming into weeks sort of 3-4 of the conflict. If we get another couple of weeks of that supply disruption, they will start to be thinking quite strongly about, we need to do something about this now, because obviously when you get a month into your supply dwindling away, it's getting closer and closer to that point where it's, critical mass and, stuff needs to start getting turned off. So at the moment, they're kind of trying to bolster the markets up and say, don't worry about it, it's all fine at the moment. But, the Saudi and Kuwait and that have all come out and said we can't produce oil at the moment because we can't store it. Our storages are full, so they're all turned off. So, well, if you have 4 weeks where you don't supply, you're going to start to lose money, aren't you? So it's getting quite a critical point now. That's why I'm quite surprised that we've got this big dip coming in here, because this doesn't look like what's going to be happening with global markets in the next couple of weeks. So good point to buy it, potentially, if you can. I still can't buy it. I'm in my trade, but I can't get any more size on, unfortunately. Took a partial. I can't scale into it if I want to at the minute. Three-bar reversal forming, but not actually there yet. We've got 4 minutes left on this candle, obviously, so it's very early days, but big strong push, pause. If we close bullish on this one, that might be the exhaustion on that initial sell. We'll be looking for a push back up for 10 minutes or so. This is candle 16, 2 away from the 1.5 hour mark. Very different moves at the moment on the Dow and the NASDAQ. There you go. So NASDAQ's just taken out the high of the last 5 minute candle. Dow still short. Just about to trigger a short on the Dow. Really extended. So this propulsion gap here on the Dow is what I'm looking for back at the Globex highs to be upside resistance for me today, because if we come and retest that, I'll be stopped out if I trigger short, which isn't going to be great, but it's not the best entry in the world. Much rather wait for a pullback, but doesn't look like the market's going to let me. Nearly triggered. So sell stops in at the 5 minute low. They go triggered short. That's not a good entry at all. So looking for that short there to hold. We can push back down and break out of this 5 minute low, or rather 10 minute low. So we're way below the open, which is good. But if we can push back down into here somewhere and then start a pullback, there's more chance of that holding. If it immediately pulls back from here, there's a good chance it will pull back 68% on that leg, and they'll add size there, but we'll see. Look at that rejection to the upside. Really selling off. As soon as that session moving average goes, I think they'll be all over that short. No more news today, so. Okay, so 10 minutes of indecision so far on the NASDAQ. So very much the same as this move up here. Yeah, market unable to decide on longs and shorts. So tends, when you get that sort of move and there's no confidence in the buys, they will take profit on their longs. Same on these shorts now. Market not able to make any progress short, so they'll take a bit of profit. And then see if there's more interest in shorting. Not a great entry, that, at all. We will see. So I'm back on Friday this week, as usual, for the DAX session. I I'll keep updated. If you've got the position trader EA and you bought it off of the website, then I'll keep updated about releasing the beta version of version 3 when I've got that completed. So I'll give it out to members of the site, and obviously anybody that's purchased it, allow you to have a play around with it and back test with it and just make sure it all works. I will have tested it myself. And as soon as I've got the MT4 version fully functional, obviously I'll then convert that over into MT5. And hopefully that will work as well. But it's MT5, so probably won't. So I'll hopefully have an update on that this week. Fingers crossed. And then, we can get some more decent back testing done with that. Okay, so outside bar on the NASDAQ, candle 16. Lower low, lower high on the Dow. We just put a new low in there and triggered short on the NASDAQ. So short both at the moment. Really struggling to get short though, so I don't like either of these shorts today, to be honest. Stop loss on that short is basically opposite side of that range there. So the five-minute high is basically my stop loss, which is bang in the middle of that propulsion gap. So if they do fail to carry this move on to the downside, they're going to pull back on it, and that is exactly where I'd expect them to pull back to. So really tricky entry on the ORB today because it's so extended so quickly. You kind of want that sort of movement on your pullback, but it's just straight down, isn't it? So we've kind of unfortunately triggered at a really bad spot today. Potential inside bar going in on the Dow as well, which doesn't help. I'll wait for candle 18 to go in. So you're looking at low of session or high of session being established either here, and we are pulling back for a continuation long, or that's high of session and we're going to pull back for a short. Look at that, triggered straight in, straight back up again. Afternoon Plowman, how are we doing? Jesus, that's the worst entry of the worst entry possible. Might just look at taking a manual short actually on the so S&P basically is the same move as the NASDAQ. So the better entry on that is going to be pulling back up into this propulsion here, shorting that. Much better risk reward on it. So nice lows going in, but bit of a interrupted high at the minute. Look at that. Now, really big, strong move back to the upside. So this is either a very strong profit take back up into this sell zone or back up into this sell zone. Hopefully this one. Or that was your profit take on the longs from Globex. And this is basically buying the continuation long. One of them. Okay, so Outside bar, someone at the door. Outside bar, just going in on the NASDAQ now. I do not hold out much hope for this one today. Unfortunate. Okay, yeah, going to stop out on this DOW by the looks of things. So this is candle 18. So this is 1.5 hours into the market. So usually this is the point where you can say with pretty high confidence you found your session high or low. So we are either, as I said, pulling back on a bull move for the day, or we have found high of day and we'll be correcting. If we're going to go into a rotation today, it could actually be either of those, really. So we obviously opened up. So if this is going to be a rotational day, we may come and test this low and end up back up in here, or we could just look at holding the session underneath those highs and not actually going anywhere at all today, but not looking good for shorts at the minute. Not for my short. I mean, it's looking good for shorts, just not that entry. That was a shocking entry. Outside bar on the NASDAQ, stopped out the Dow. It's getting ready to get back in on the S&P. So S&P, if this is high of session, this propulsion move here is a good short back down to test the Globex lows today. That is a 4-hour short. So nice room to the downside. That is exactly to the pip, probably, where this pullback will end. So just waiting to see what this candle does. So we're forming a small propulsion move there. So watching this area, if we can come up and test this area, that's where I'd like to be selling it. Could even use the Globex highs. That's your safer entry. Still gives you a 2R to test the Globex low. Don't forget, obviously, Globex is the quiet session. So using the Globex high and the Globex low as targets and stops, if we're going to get normal volume during the open and the normal session, you would usually exceed Globex highs and lows. So if we don't exceed the Globex high, we should test the Globex low. Watching this area here. Shorts. Still an inside bar on oil. Look at that spread. Is that really the spread? Look at that. That's massive. Zero liquidity. Okay, testing propulsion now. So this is the previous Friday high, which we've attempted to break and rejected. So if that rejection is going to hold today, that's what I would be looking for them to do. Have I taken any shorts in the US dollar yen? Not yet. I'm just waiting to see what happens with it today, basically. I wanted to see. Trading has been halted in key contracts on the LME. We've got a trading halt in play. Got to stop out on the NASDAQ as well. Shocking. What a stupid entry that is. It's the edge. You let it play out. Okay, I'm going to short that. S&P. So watching this area here, if we break back down below that area, we can add some more size in potentially down there. Put the line on exactly where I want to be. So that high basically will form potential stop. So if we can break back down below that low through that propulsion move, I'll add some size in and then look to get out down there. And then I move that stop loss down as well if the trade starts to play out. So still in the NASDAQ. So yeah, US dollar yen. I'm watching today to see where we get to. So this US dollar obviously has weakened dramatically today. If you look at all the M pairs, we've had a couple of days of down on Aussie yen, couple of days on the CAD yen, Swiss yen, same. So we've seen strength starting to creep in to the yen, which I don't think is actually strength. I think it's more the market is actually taking profit on the carry trade because they're worried about how high we are here. So we're coming back up to intervention levels at 160, 162. So this area here obviously is where the previous intervention happened. We are just taking out these highs. So I think the fact that the US dollar has been so strong on oil means that the market is worried the carry trade is going to fall apart with an intervention from the Japanese. So if that is the case, you want to start scaling out and taking some profit. And that's what we've seen over the last 24 hours is a gradual move to take profits. So rather than this being strength in the yen, I think it's just basically profit taking. So we need to see where it goes today. The US dollar has been weak today. We'll wait and see where this candle closes. If we close with a nice long wick to the downside, yeah, I will probably hit the button and go short because I'm quite happy to scale in, which will be roughly 235 pips, which is just over 2 ADR, 2.5 ADR. So 2.5 ADR will get me into probably 3, maybe 4 trades in a position before we hit that high. So if I can be in 4 when we hit that level, if we hit that level, and the Japanese press the button, be out within a week. But I want to see some strength in the US dollar still. At the moment, it's too weak. So if this just pulls back, the Japanese won't do anything. But if it pulls back into here and then starts to push back up again, I'll start to short it up here. But if it just comes down into here, there's no reason to push the button. So I'm going to wait and see. But if you're in short, it's not a problem. Yeah, because if the US dollar weakens, that will give the yen some strength anyway. So you're fine. If you're in and the US dollar strengthens, they're going to press the button. So you're fine. So it doesn't matter if you hit the short button now. I just wanted to wait and see what happens because I've got oil on at the minute still. It's kind of skewed my view of everything because I've got so much open P&L. I don't really want to take any unnecessary risk until I know what's happening with the oil trade, because this oil trade that I'm in at the moment is kind of like I don't need to do anything else. This is small fry. If I get into this and an intervention happens, it's not going to be anywhere near as much money as I've got running on oil. So, you know, it may look like a big trade if you're not in oil, but if you're in oil, it's just peanuts at the minute. And I don't really want to get too much risk on anything else, but I will take some on it. But I want to withdraw as well. So, because I've got too much size on, too much revenue in it in this account, because it's gone up so much. It's gone up 400%. So I don't really want to take that much risk. So any trades that I do take are going to be, I'd have to adjust the risk on it. It's just not worth doing it at the minute, for me anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't worry if you're short really at the minute. Okay, so there's your entry on the S&P. So that propulsion gap is filled. So we'll see if they buy this back up again. So they're either going to market structure reversal back up into those highs and break the high of day, or that high of day is the 50% retracement continuation short. And then we'll scale in, average in, and move the stops. In fact, I'm going to move the stop down now anyway, because that does look like that propulsion gap has held at the moment. So I might as well reduce the risk, because if it hasn't held, there's no point in taking a full loss on it. I might as well just take 50% of the loss, because I've had confirmation that we've got some bears. So there's no point, you know, if it goes back up there, I don't want to be in it anyway. So still in the NASDAQ, short, but there's a lot of wicks at the moment sitting down here. So tough day today, tough. I'm short since last week. Expensive to hold due to the swaps. Yeah, but obviously, if you've seen, I don't know if you've seen, but I don't know if you went in the live room this morning. We've had confirmation of a threat of intervention from the Japanese this morning. So, yeah, if you're in long, get out or protect it, and if you're in short, fine. We'll not comment. This is exactly, you know, I've been, if you've been in the live rooms for any period of time, you've heard this story a million times. Yeah, this is exactly how it plays out every time. We are watching forex levels. We will not comment on forex levels. Undesirable moves against the yen will basically have intervention. We will take decisive steps to intervene. Market collapses, Japanese deny they did it. Same every time. And it all starts with this. So, you know, like history repeating itself. So there's your trading halt. feels really jittery today, this, doesn't it? What are my thoughts on Aussie New Zealand? Don't do anything with it at the minute until tomorrow, because the interest rate decision is coming out tomorrow on the Australian dollar, and you really need to see what impact that Australian dollar has off the back of that interest rate. So if that interest rate, which is forecast to go up, drives the Aussie dollar up, something's wrong. So if gold isn't increasing in price and the Australian dollar rallies off the back of that, it makes absolutely no sense at the moment. I think the most likely thing to happen tomorrow is we either get a 3.85 or we get a 4.1 and the Aussie dollar drops anyway. But it might well spike up before it drops. So you've got 48 hours of indecision after a bull run. This looks like an exhaustion run. If you look at the size of these last 3 to 4 days and compare it to any time in the last couple of months, that's an exhaustion move. Yeah, you've got a pause, 2 indecision candles where the market's just like, don't know. And today, we can't make any decisive moves either. So that is the most logical move. But what it will do on interest rates tomorrow, your guess is as good as mine. The entire banking, central banking world is coming together to decide what to do about this crisis in oil. And they will be looking at changing interest rates en masse. So that could go absolutely anywhere at the moment. Right now, it's a short. It's technically a short, and it's fundamentally a short. Well, it's not actually. It's fundamentally a long in old money, where we used to buy interest rate rallies. We don't buy interest rate rallies anymore, do we? I think this 4.15. I think is potentially factored in already. So the likely move tomorrow, if that interest rate goes up, is that they take profit and add. So take profit short. But your guess is as good as mine at the minute. We just had a reversal on the 4 hour last week. Look, so starting. Lovely strong 200 ADR pullback before you start getting back into this last buy move from last week. Yeah, this is the bit this is the exhaustion last week. It kind of petered out for 2 days and they're stuck. They can't go high. So if you can't go up, you go down. You've got to go somewhere. Lovely reversal alert, but it's not strong. They're not going to move. The market's not going to dump or pump 24 hours before an interest rate decision. They're going to wait. So you'll find out tomorrow. But I really don't know anymore. Fundamentals are just not the same. We've got really strong downside rejection at the moment on the NASDAQ. And the DOW is back into propulsion. So there's your battle lines today. Bears are there. Bulls are here. One of them is going to lose. S&P's holding up as well. That's wrong. That's timed for the DAX, isn't it? No, it's not. 14:30. I forgot to change the time on it. There we go. That's not right. That's right. Wrong times. So it didn't trigger the second short. Stopped out on the NASDAQ now. So double stop out on the NASDAQ and the DOW. Shocking afternoon. Can you show me the input settings on your MA ribbon? So that's the MA ribbon, 110.7210. And then the MA in colours, one is obviously set at 72 and the other one is set at 24. But the ribbon is that. Really tricky decisions. So bears are fully in control at the moment, midway through the session. But we're bullish on the day. So it's really difficult to know if this is bull or bear, but it's a good sell. Just can't figure out whether or not these wicks are actually just going to pop in a minute. We're off, but hard session. Okay, got 3 minutes left on this candle. We're inside bar at the minute. So we are holding. Really big spreads today as well. Nothing that's from January. Doesn't say why that exchange halt is in place, does it? It just says London Metal Exchange has got a halt, but it doesn't say why, whether it's a technical problem or what. Nothing particularly wrong with metals today. Okay, so there's your first inside bar. It's not your first inside bar, but there is an inside bar on oil. We had one earlier on today as well. So potentially, if we now break these highs, that is your lower session in lower day. So if you want to buy any oil at the minute, if you are thinking we are going higher, that is not a bad entry, even under that low. But I mean, if it's going to take that low, it's going to take that low. So it doesn't matter where you put it, really. But if it's not going to take that low, you're safe under here, probably. Stopped out on the S&P. Oh, no, I'm not. That's interesting. So the NASDAQ making new highs. S&P not making new highs. It's just about, but we're still holding that propulsion move at the minute, although these downside wicks look awful. The sellers are not making any progress at all. This spread is unbelievable. Look at it. I'm below my entry price and I'm actually in drawdown. That is a terrible spread. Really, really jittery today. I hate when the spread's like that. Just see there's very little liquidity in the market. There's very little interest in getting these orders filled today. Why we're not making any progress, I think. But right, well, I'm going to leave it there because there's nothing much happening today. So we are in rotation at the moment. So we will either retest that high or that low by end of session. Which way it's going, your guess is as good as mine today. I'm short on the S&P, but there's not really any directional bias in the last sort of half an hour or so. So this could go absolutely anywhere. We just had a nice bull move going on the DAX out of propulsion look. So it does look long to me, but equally also at the same time looks short. So it's one of those days where you can't really, if you can't call it, don't trade it, because it's just going to chop you to pieces. So that'll be my last trade of the day. If that doesn't work out, come back tomorrow. So tomorrow, obviously, bear in mind, and all week, bear in mind, we have massive news. So you've got interest rates for the Australian dollar tomorrow, followed by PPI for the US dollar, followed by the Canadian interest rates, followed by the press conference, followed by FOMC and press conference, followed by Aussie unemployment, followed by the Bank of Japan interest rate and press conference, followed by the Swiss National Bank interest rate and press conference, followed by the pound interest rate, followed by the euro interest rate, and that's it. Yeah. So it is literally non-stop, multiple times a day, biggest news events we can get in trading. So just bear in mind, this week is not going to be normal. You're going to get all sorts of weird and wonderful spikes all over the gaff. So yeah, one of those weeks you just kind of want to watch and see what happens next. But there might well be some really good news trading opportunities. So if you're in the MST Academy and you've done the news trading strategy, it's only small, it's only 3 lessons in it, but just tells you basically how to trade these spikes. So there will potentially be some really good opportunities for news trading this week. So just keep your eyes peeled on those. Obviously, the ones in the morning I won't be trading, but I'll be watching the rest of these rates for potential news trading opportunities, because there might be some really good opportunities to get in. But then again, the market might do absolutely nothing. Yeah. We just don't know what's going to happen. There's too many news events within days of each other. So when you get that type of movement, you just got to kind of roll with it. Looks like I'm going to stop out on this S&P. Unless this double tops, I think we're probably going to try and retest these highs today. I don't know that we're going to get much further, but we'll see. So rotation, sell the highs, buy the lows, and assume that we're going to go into rotation until we get the interest rate decisions. So there you go. Stopped out with a massive spread. It's just not worth it today. So that'll do. Load of crap today, isn't it? Yeah, so I'll be back on Friday. We'll see where we go. Well, obviously on Friday morning I'm in here with the DAX, and then Friday afternoon members stream. LME have just said they're aware of the issue and they're working to resolve it. So this will only affect you if you trade metals on futures in the London exchange, which we won't. So it doesn't affect us. Would you consider doing a Wednesday non-members session? No, because I don't really want to. Honest answer. I'm getting a hell of a lot more work done, like as in strategy development and stuff. Streaming's great. I love it. It's brilliant, but it takes up a lot of time that I can spend doing other things, because I have to prepare for the streams, sit here for the streams, and I'd much rather just free my time up to focus. Every time I stop what I'm doing, it breaks my concentration and my focus. So if I can get a full day from morning to afternoon after the initial open on coding and strategy development work, I get so much more done. If I break it up, I don't get anywhere near as much done. I just go off in tangents and do other things. So like today, I've got pretty much the position trader. In the last 48 hours, I've got the position trader EA version 3 pretty much finished. I've got one little bit left to do and I'm done, because I've had 2 days solid at it. I'll sit there. If I stream, when I was streaming 5 days a week, I wouldn't get anything done. Nothing. So difference between 3 days a week solid work and 2 days a week solid work is an extra 50% solid work. You don't need me anyway. You've done the boot camp. Yeah. Everything you need to know is in here. It's like 100 hours of content in here that's it. It's all there. You don't need to know anything else. Watch all of that lot. And once you watched all of that lot, that's it. You're done. Just get on with it. Doesn't matter what I say. Don't forget, I have no idea. I have no idea. If I knew where everything was going, I'd make money every day. I don't. Yeah. I think that's going up there, but at any moment it could go down there. I can tell you one thing, it will do one of those two things. Your job is to risk around that movement. That's all it is. It's very simple. Right, I'll be back on Friday. So anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Discord or Telegram. I'll be in the members stream, obviously, for members. Channel for members. Yeah, and we'll keep an eye on oil as well this week. So don't forget, everything that happens this week with interest rates is to try and curtail energy pricing. And at the moment, that looks like that's going to happen. So this would be really interesting to see what happens with this week. It is dollar related as well. So if the price of the dollar goes up on interest rates, this will go up with it as well because it is priced in dollars, don't forget. So if we get really good news on the dollar this week, we're going to get a bigger pop on oil than normal as well. So at the moment, that could really set the fire underneath this thing. So we'll see where we go. All right, have a good one. Anything you need, let me know. Other than that, I'll be back on Friday. Have a good day.
Yeah. Click, clack, charts attack, candlesticks, they spark the track. Lead move silent, market crack, profit stack, no turning back. Opening range, that's the game. Breakout hits, never the same. Algorithms play, but he rewires the frame. Banks whisper his name. Flipping forex, indices flex, numbers dance. What's coming next? Green lights flash, P&L stretch. Risk managed, he never sweats. West fact buzz and traders peep. Lessons deep, no time to sleep. Market's a beast, league got the leash. Feast at the feast, his game's elite. Market structures is domain. Leads the king, they know his name. Breakout sharp, he fuels the flame. Trading charts is not a game. Pip by pip, he stacking high. Mean reversion, banks comply. Leads the reason markets run. Leads the reason markets run. Candles lit, wicks on fire, spread so tight the stakes get higher. Institutional flow, he's the supplier. Positions held till charts retire. Data feeds, news he reads, Fibonacci maps the seeds. Supply demand is mine exceeds. Trades ignite like lightning speed. Stop loss tight, take profit wide. Least precision, unmatched drive. Liquidity pools, banks coincide. Retail's blind, leads the guide. Charts unfold, the stories told. Entry bold, accounts in gold. Trade by trade, the wins are sold. Market alchemy legends mode. Whoa, whoa.